Hello and welcome to Paris Set Me Free mini photo tutorials. This is a picture of the metro, and it's one of those wacky pictures. It's a multiple exposure, and you have to look at it very carefully to try and work out what's going on. How many images can you see there? What exactly are they doing? And also, why did I choose this shot? Well, let me show you the original, and then I'll show you 4 pictures which I had to choose from. So let me just move this across here. That's the original version before I played around with it, and you can see it's slightly less contrasty, slightly less bright. You see, I've brightened it up, made it nice and punchy picture. So there's the original, and I had this one, which is the one I chose, this one, and this one to choose from. Now let me just see what's interesting about each of these. This one, well, yeah, I liked it when I first saw it. You can see there's at least two images. One is the metro going this way, and I tilted the camera to have the second image of the metro going this way. Is there any human action there? Well, yes, there is. There's a person here. The person's face is a bit blurred. Their eyes have just become a line as the metro has whizzed past. The arms look like they're folded across the chest, and again, it's a rather strange personage or character. You can just about tell that it's a person, and in my opinion it wasn't quite enough of a person to make it worth considering this photograph particularly. If I wanted this person to be a strong element in the photograph, I would have made them bigger, or like them to be bigger. If I look down at the last shot in the series of those I kept, there is a person there, and I like this one a lot. I almost used it. I think it's a double exposure, although it's much less obvious as one, if it is. And here's a guy, but you've got this white blur here, which maybe comes from the other exposure which I took, not the one in which this guy is in. And there's a person here who is covered by this white blob, and his nose is right up against it. So, although he's in a reasonable position up there, top left, didn't quite do it for me. I didn't feel there was enough of his character showing through. Another picture here. Again, it's double exposure. I was playing around with that feature, and there you can actually see probably what the white blob was in that last one. Some sort of poster. Maybe it was a poster that was there on the there in the street. I seem to have taken some in the street. It's funny I say I seem to have, as though I don't know. Well, I don't know. I'm just trying to remember, because there's a tree there, and then there's a double exposure of a metro. So what I probably did, maybe I was in a train station where you could actually see outside as well as the metros. I'm not sure. I can't remember. This one, it's to be honest, it's too much of a mess. There's nothing coherent there. Then I saw this one, and I thought, okay, I'll go with this, because it's got these strong lines, two strong diagonals. This is the entire train, or rather, the train covers the entire breadth of the photograph. And here you can see the front of the train, or the back, to be honest, which, well, there it is. You know, it doesn't completely cover the photograph, so it's not a pure cross, but it gives a very strong dynamic tension there, if you like, of the two trains crossing. And then you've got this thing here. Let me just move over to the final version, because this is the photograph I chose. You've got this other strange effect here. Now, don't think that this is actually an object, because if you look carefully, you can see the line of the railway continues into this paler part. So although this looks like it's an object, it's not necessarily. It could just be an opening where more light came through in order to give lots of exposure to this part and less to this. So it's rather strange, but then it could be. You know, you just got to look at it carefully and see the way things merge into each other, and just enjoy it for that. In fact, I can see a sign here. It says Stade Charletti, and I think I remember what it is now. It's not actually a metro, it's a tram. So it's a tram line which was outside. I was probably at Stade Charletti, which is outside, where I took some of those recent athletics photographs, and I was probably just sitting there and watching the trams going past with my multiple exposure feature and taking a shot of the stadium in the background as well. There's also one of these, some sort of thing going up here, probably a support for the stadium or something like that. So with nighttime photographs you can get a lot of different effects, especially here's some of the artificial lights as well that can give it a rather eerie green look to some of the, especially if they're shining on leaves of trees, because it's not at all the same colour as if you took a picture of that tree in the daylight. Get a completely different effect. Plus the garish lighting of these trains, which I've exaggerated in this photograph, is quite interesting and contrasts a lot. You see these reds, greens, yellows, all quite saturated, and then you've got this sort of washed out orangey sepia effect on the rails and on the edges of the station here, which haven't been so garishly lit, and this is what the colour they come out at night when they're being lit by a certain type of maybe tungsten lighting from the street. And these multiple exposures give you strange shapes which are very difficult to work out what they actually come from. I'm really having a problem working out what this part here is and why it's lit so differently from the rest, and I can't for the life of me work it out. But obviously that's one of the things that happens when you take these shots, especially multiple exposures. You've got no idea what's going to happen, but it nicely frames whatever this thing is. It's quite nice because it follows the edge of the photograph. You see, it's not cut in anywhere. It goes along here just before it gets to the edge of the photograph, stops, comes back down here, comes down here to the edge of the train. So all of this area here actually frames whatever this is, and the trains take up the bottom of the photograph in an extremely dynamic and interesting composition, diagonal compositions contrasting with each other. So that was just me sitting at night waiting for a tram probably, and playing around with my camera, and a little playing around after the event on the computer as well, and ending up with this this interesting composition. Why don't you try it too? So that's all for this time. You can probably see a good version of this on the blog if you go to, where are we now? September 2008. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.
Depuis que je suis à Paris, le jour et la nuit, je suis gris. J'ai compris la douceur de vivre. Je suis fou de joie, je suis ivre. Depuis que je suis à Paris.